Apple looks terrible. Let me tell you why. When we look at the chart right now, what I see is a complete change in trend. Today was supposed to be a great day for Apple, yet the stock is down 1.7%. It's down 7% over the rolling 5 days. It's down 15%. It's essentially break even over the past 15 days. It's negative on the 1 month and it's negative on the 3 month. Now, if you look at this overall trade card that you see here, things should be good for Apple. I mean, it has a negative correlation to the VIX, which is slightly rising, but the VIX has been getting higher and higher. I mean, it's been falling, but I mean, you saw a move today. We look at what the correlation is to the dollar. It's at 16% for Apple because, of course, Apple is like the dollar. It's like a safety trade. Everybody owns it. And the dollar's been rising, right? If we take a quick little peek at the dollar here, which Apple's related to, the dollar's up. The dollar's up across the board. I mean, essentially, it's up 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, 15-day, and 5-day, and 1 day. Yes, it's down on the 1 year, but where's Apple? Why is Apple not rallying if the dollar is moving? Its correlation is rising and getting higher. I mean, on the VIX, obviously, it's got a negative correlation, which is what you want, right? When the VIX is rising, you don't expect Apple to rise. When the VIX is falling, you expect Apple to rise. But right now, Apple is bearish on the weekly and the daily. That's quite concerning. Let's go ahead and look at the raw data. So right now, if we look, this is a 9-month chart at the bottom. You can see the trend of Apple completely changed in the middle of August, right? The beginning of August was like the end. August 1st was the end. Whatever we've had since then in August has been weird. It was whipped around, not just Apple, but the entire market. And you can see here that the price, this 170, this has to really be respected. That 170 is held a couple of times, but we're really close to it. Unnecessarily close if you think that this is really the most profit or the most expensive company in the world. It is below its 5-day moving average. It's below its 23-day moving average. You saw 90 million shares traded today on a day where it was down. That is not good. Now, we do see that the volatility is falling, which I do like to see, but that means that very quickly the volatility is about to break out, and this correlation is going to change. Right now, it says the price to rise is for the future price path, but I am not sure. We look out of the past 5 days, we're down 3 of them. Over the rolling 5 days, we're negative. We're still positive on the 15-day, but barely. We lost over 2% or over 200 basis points, 250 basis points in 1 day between yesterday and today. And what changed? Apple announced more products. They announced more services. That's the opposite of what you'd expect if a company is intentionally trying to make more money. Right? Especially a company that you know is so good at making money and revenue like Apple. We look at the 1 month, we can see it's down 1.79%. Obviously, we've had a little bit of a flip back over the past few days. It's been flipping back to positive. We're down negative on the 3 month. That's a very recent new thing. We see go short in the short term. We still have to go long on the short term, intermediate term, and longer term. So we still believe in it. But we are definitely confirmed bearish in the short term, definitely confirmed bearish in the intermediate term. There is nothing that makes me believe that these two bullish signals that we're going to get for tomorrow, if these prices hold on the trajectory that they're going, is necessarily going to change the trend. Right now, we are definitely bearish. I mean, I'm going to contradict myself completely right now because if I look at the rolling sentiment, we can see it's now rising bullish. It's a rising bull. We can see the 10-day. The 10-day is at 54%, but it's going to go down tomorrow. We can see the 23-day it's risen. It's at 50%, but it's going to go down tomorrow. We can see the 2-day bullishness, the 5-day, and the 10-day. These are all in the high 40s, which is not super convincing. We do want to see the green bullish bars here break up above this black line, which is the 15-day moving average of the bullishness. Just getting about 50%. I mean, essentially, it again peaked. It peaked in July. It kind of rallied, and then it really lost its favor. It hasn't been back up above that black line since the beginning of August, which we looked at the chart, that's exactly when it topped. So we are interested in seeing a change. We are back above that line. That's good to see. We look at the trading signals. We do see a rising valley. I believe very strongly in my rising valleys. I do see, though, that I still have 4 bear key 3. As of tomorrow, I'm not even going to have more bullish signals, which is quite concerning. And if we look here, this isn't even going to populate properly. If we go look at the regular data, specifically for Apple, we look at the chart. The chart. I mean, wow, what is this? Like, what? I don't know what. I don't even look at patterns. I don't look at candles. That's a gap drop in Apple that I don't even know if it's been closed. I don't even know, have we been in the 190s again? I don't even believe it. Like, we got really close. We got to 189, and then it rejected it. Like, we haven't been in the 190s, and it has completely rejected it. We have to break back to the 190s, Apple. If you don't do it, you're not going to be bullish, and then you can't believe. And then this thing is wrapped into every single mutual fund, every single ETF, every single world index. Whatever you think that you own, you probably own a piece of Apple. We look at the daily sentiment index. Now this is good. We are back up above. We are back above 50% as of today. We're back up above the black line as of today or yesterday. We'll see how it kind of rolls through because obviously this is an aggregate in terms of the bullish sentiment. This is going to look for longer term trends, bigger breakouts. Really, the overall trend changes. Now we look at the overall weekly though. The one thing I'll say is that the weekly specifically does not look great. The weekly is definitely falling. It's at 49% bullishness. Things have changed in Apple. Even on the weekly, you can see that. We're back around 50%, which you could argue means that there's still upside. Look at the volume. Volume looks essentially complacent. The volume on the weekly looks like it's essentially been falling, which is quite concerning. Quite concerning that it's been falling ever since then. We saw the highest volume that we've seen since then was around the top in the overall market, but I think Apple just continued to march higher. I mean, that was around this. That was the top in the overall market. Then Apple went sideways, but Apple's broken out higher than it did in 2021, which is what we want to believe is going to continue. But we have to really be convinced by the data. The data right now is showing us that there may be a change in trend. Look at the volatility for Apple. The Apple volatility is definitely falling. We can see that it's fallen. Just like I mentioned, it's going to rise again. Apple volatility can get very high because the price is very high. It's one of those stocks that obviously is widely owned, so there's a bunch of demand or supply that can move this thing around. You can see that the change in this volatility, I'd say, is that this is much more pointed. The other volatility, I don't know, blob, I don't know, like the structure, essentially was much longer and more sustained as it rolled up to a new high, and then it fell into the beginning of August. In the beginning of August, the unfortunate part for me is that I really hate that I know that the beginning of August is when they started to drop, and that this fall in volatility correlates to the drop. And the reason why I say that is because I believe that when you get falling volatility, that's when the trend truly exposes itself. And Apple looks like, again, there's more evidence that it's definitely in a bullish trend. Or a bearish trend, excuse me. Look at the daily volatility price correlation. It's slightly positive, slightly positive. The blue line is barely above the 15-day moving average. We'll be very curious to see what happens over the next few days. This is a big week for Apple, especially considering it's only Tuesday. The next 3 days are very big. We want to see how this closes. That is very interesting to see. Apple, I'll definitely be paying attention to. The bottom of the range, where are we? The bottom of the range is at 168. The top of the range is at 192. 168 is not that far away. I mean, it's closer than you think. You're only literally $8? Yeah, you're $8 away. Where the 192, again, we haven't broken 190. We haven't even got the idea that we could even get to 190 at the top. That would be remarkable. We haven't been in the 190 since July. If we could break back up above, get this range to get a little bit higher, where the top could be over $200, I'd be very positive about it. But Apple's just not displaying. It's just not displaying the type of action that you believe is going to make it bullish. Even on the weekly now, we peaked on the 4th of August at 209 at the top of the range. We're essentially falling now. Again, the bottom of the range is coming up. It's at 162. The top of the range is at 201. We would expect that Apple could make a potentially bullish move here on the daily. The weekly, I'm not sure how long that move is going to last. We just want to be cautious and be honest with ourselves about what the data is telling us. We can see through the 12th today, we're at 47% on the daily and the alt. If we break back up above, we get about 50%. We see a nice kind of like rolling hill of green where the black line slopes up and just kind of moves for like a long sustained period of time. That's an opportunity to go long. But tell me what you think in the comments below. Are you long? Are you short? Do you like it? Do you love it? And it's even a good review. And before you go, subscribe to the New High newsletter. We give you 25 stocks breaking out, stocks between $5 and $20, stocks breaking out to 1-year highs, all-time highs. It's a great list to review on Sundays, right, to get your trading week started. I'll talk to you soon.